In this video, I wanted to switch things up a little bit and do a quick review of this iPad case. This is called the Logitech Slim Folio. It's a Bluetooth keyboard iPad case. So it's a fairly popular product, sells for about $100, so it's definitely not cheap. And it works with 7th and 8th generation iPads. That's the 10.2-inch standard iPad, not a Slim, not a Pro, nothing like that. And it's designed to be I hesitate to call it affordable, but it's affordable for the Logitech line, But it's a relatively affordable keyboard case for the iPad. You get a Bluetooth keyboard and a hard case. That's a hard plastic case in one. So that's a pretty popular niche because a lot of people with iPads these days are using a keyboard. You are going to use a Bluetooth keyboard. Obviously, you want the protection, and you want to be able to fold it like a laptop. And this offers all of that. Typically, you see these cases at $150 if you're going for a premium brand like a Logitech, or $40, $30 if you're going with a unknown brand, we'll call it. So this is kind of right in the middle, and it's one of the few at that $100 price point. I think Belkin and a few other companies like that have offerings, but this one is sold through the Apple Store, which is nice, especially if you have Apple credit, and comes from a brand who I've had many, many products from in the past, Logitech. So I'm not always the biggest fan of their products, but it's a known quantity. They have good support, and again, this was available through the Apple Store, which is helpful. So what's the deal with this Slim Folio? Here is the case it comes in. It's really nice, very Apple-y. Slides right out. It has this little tag here. Again, works with 7th and 8th generation iPads, 10.2 inches. It's a Bluetooth case. I'm not sure what else is here. Well-spaced keys, iPad OS shortcuts, Bluetooth, 4-year battery life, which is very cool. And it can be a little confusing with this thing. You're looking for the charging port somewhere, and it's not clear where it is. And that's because you don't have to charge it like you do your iPad and plug it in or something like that. Keyboards use almost no power. So it has a 4-year battery life. And there is an Apple Pencil holder, which is pretty important. You could see it right here on the side. That's, again, if you're using an Apple Pencil, then it's really important you have one of these. And this case has that under control, so it's another big selling point. And, of course, the fact you could turn it into a laptop-type stand is sort of the whole point here. So here is the Slim Folio case. This is I guess I would call this a rubber-y material. It's slightly grippy, not super grippy. It's almost like a leather feel, but obviously it's not leather. And this is the outer coating on the case. I bought it in this gray. Fingerprints and stuff don't really show up, and scratches are very minimal, so that's really nice. This outer rubbery material, so maybe it's like a vinyl, I would say. That would be the closest comparison. It has a matte texture. That encases the hard plastic, and the hard plastic is what offers some additional protection to your iPad, and that's in case you're going to drop it or slam it around in your bag or something like that. This vinyl material, whatever it is, it looks padded. It's not padded. It has no give to it, but it is a little bit grippy. The hard plastic is just what you'd expect. It's a hard plastic. It is slightly textured, but you don't want to hold it. You're not going to have the grip on it that you will on the material itself. Here is this is the pencil holder, but most of the time you're using this to open and close the case because the way the shell fits together, you can't really grab it. It's really hard to get it like that, so you're opening it here. You have holes on the openings on the bottom, side, top for any of your controls. So your speakers need to go out through the bottom. Same with your charging port. You have your volume controls, your power button, your camera, and all your other stuff. So that's around. There's openings for everything. It's totally compatible with your iPad. Logos and stuff like that are kept to a very bare minimum. Here you can see that Logi, that's the Logitech, the updated logo. I mean, I'm not sure when they updated it, probably for a few years now. Opening it up, we can see this is the inside. This is where the iPad lives, really nothing to see there. And I will just say that it is nicely made and is a perfect fit for the 7th and 8th generation iPads. Here is the keyboard. It is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would call this a 6-row keyboard. You have your full arrow keys. Not typically something used a lot on the iPad, but is there. You have a battery indicator, which will work when your iPad is there. And then you have volume, your brightness adjustment, play button, search, lock screen, Bluetooth. This is like hitting the home button over here. And then you have a tab, caps lock, all the stuff you'd expect from a standard keyboard, which is really nice. The keys are a little bit more than ½ inch across, which is, I would say, a nice size. They are spaced apart. They're non-adjacent. They are on the small side if you're comparing this to a standard laptop like a ThinkPad or a MacBook Pro or something like that. They're definitely smaller, but they are spaced apart, so you get a pretty good typing experience. They have a button type feel, like a scissor switch type feel. The closest comparison would probably be to a 2015 or 2016 MacBook Pro, back in the old style, like 2 version ago keyboard with a nice tactile feel, but it's not like a mechanical keyboard switch. Anyway, it's a pretty nice keyboard, a little cramped, but you'll get used to it. Then as far as the fit goes, very simple. Your iPad, get here, the button is oriented onto the right side, so that way your camera and all are up the top. That's your forward-facing camera, obviously, and then your back camera right here goes in this hole right here, and you're gonna slide it in like this, slide it forward, and give it a little press, and you're good to go. Now it will close. You add about, I'd say about 120 grams, something like that. I forgot to measure it. Not too heavy, not too light. And it is about a little bit under 1 inch thick now, so nice thickness. Feels very solid. And then when you want to open it, like that, you fold it like this. Here, I gotta say, it feels a little awkward. I don't like holding it like this. This is the biggest downside for me, because you have this little strappy piece here that's connecting it. It has to go somewhere, so this thing tends not to line up perfectly. It flops one way or it flops the other way. So this is the biggest downside for me, is your standard iPad, like holding it is a little bit uncomfortable. But when you're using it like a keyboard, now you get a really nice click right there. Clicks right in place, and it's very firm. You see, you pull it and you can actually pick it up. The keyboard does not separate. You have to hold this down, pull it apart. It's nice, firm click onto the iPad. This is not magnetized in and of itself. It's not the plastic, it's the iPad that's doing the holding. And the Bluetooth is very simple. You just set it up like a Bluetooth device. It takes 1 second. You just type in a 6-digit number that the iPad provides you that verifies that the keyboard is connected. Again, it takes a second. You just do a standard Bluetooth connection operation. And then, yeah, it's good to go. You could type away like this, and it's really nice and stable. This piece is floppy. It's not hard, but it does hold it nicely. It's not perfect. There's a little bit of flex you could see. So if you're on a desk or something, if you're in a car, this will move around a little bit, which I know is slightly annoying. But this is the slim Folio. It's the slim, the lightweight case. If you want this to be perfectly rigid, you can have to go with something with a heavier duty back here. And Logitech has one model up from this. I forget what it's called. It might just be the Folio. It's $149, and that gives you a more secure hold, and other cases are on the market to do that. This one's totally safe, no problem, but there is a little bit of bounce. And then lock it down. You can see you have really nice clearance here. No problems getting to any of the microphones up here. Headphone jack, no problem. Camera, on-off button, volume adjust, all good. Speakers are not blocked in any way. Obviously, your lightning port is good to go there. smooth here, nothing there to kind of get caught in anything. Sometimes when you're putting it in your backpack, this little piece will kind of catch on a piece of paper, but it's really not that big of a deal. Yeah, so if you're looking for a relatively affordable keyboard case for your iPad and you want a brand name, a name that you know and trust, the Logitech Slim Folio seems like the way to go. Again, you could find iPad keyboard cases from like Amazon type brands for $30, $40, $50. But if you're looking for a brand that you know and something that's gonna really last for a long time and be covered by a solid warranty, then the Logitech one seems like a pretty good way to go. I've been using this for a little bit now and I'm pretty happy with it. Again, the $100 price point kind of hurts after spending the money on an iPad. Plus, if you look at an iPad at $300-ish for this iPad, $329, something like that, spending a third of it on a keyboard is rough, especially if this is not compatible with the next generation. Sometimes we've seen a break there and it doesn't work, but hopefully this is consistent. This was compatible with the 7th gen and now it is compatible with the 8th gen. So it does work with current 2022 iPads. So you're good to go there and hopefully it sticks around for a longer life in the future, even though we have seen Apple switch that up a few times. Anyway, that is the Slim Folio. Pretty nice iPad case.